Hey guys, Jennuine Love checking in. I hope you guys are doing awesome and amazing. I trust that you are. So I wanted to come and do a video. I've been asking y'all to present me with some questions that you feel would be beneficial to open dialogue and conversation about, and I've gotten some really good feedback, so thank you all to who have contributed to these topics. And this particular question was asked, like, Jen, how do I deal with being an empath but having a partner who isn't? And it's really interesting because if you look at the numbers for, highly sensitive people, empaths, they're not the same, but they kind of are. It's about 15 to 20% of the Earth's population falls into the sensitive category. So it's really likely that at least some of us, a lot of us, are going to end up with partners who are not sensitives, right? But that's not to say that they can't be sensitive to our needs and our sensitivity, okay? So the question was, how do I deal with having a partner who isn't an empath, And I know at least probably you've at least seen or heard something about the whole empath narcissistic connection. I feel personally, I don't have any statistics to back this up, this is just my own opinion, that every empath has a connection with a narcissistic person at least one time in their life. It's just kind of the way it is. Every empath that I know personally has had at least one experience with a narcissistic person. But that's not to say that you only can have a connection with an empath or a sensitive person and that everyone else in the other category is a narcissistic partner, because that's simply untrue. What happens a lot of times is that partners who don't identify with being an empath or sensitive, they simply just don't understand us. That's like the majority of the world. They don't get us. They don't understand us. And if truth be told, we haven't even really, a lot of us, taken time to dig deep and really understand our own gifts and our own talents and what it means to be sensitive and empathic, right? So the first thing that I would suggest, if you find yourself in a connection with a partner, now we're assuming that the partner that you're with is not narcissistic, because if you're with a narcissistic person, there is no fixing that other than just cutting it off, period. Sorry, not sorry, that's the truth. But if you're in a healthy, harmonious relationship with someone who's not necessarily an empath or a sensitive, but you want to, really feel more supported in that connection, you want to feel more seen and more understood, the first thing that you need to do is open up dialogue, and it's simple, but it can be scary if we don't know how to feel like we don't know how to express what we need. It can be helpful to write it down, in your own journal somewhere. These are the things that I would like to share with my partner, kind of get it familiar in your head so that when you're, in the middle of the conversation, you're not trying to jumble all your thoughts and collect them. Like, you kind of have a little bit of an outline about what you want to address, and just bring up the dialogue. This is what I would like to have happen in our connection. This is what I feel that I would like to experience with you. This is what would feel best for me. And really own and be assertive with what it is that you need. And you will find 9 times out of 10 that your partner is willing to meet you where you're at. They just need to know, because we think that everybody is just supposed to know things because we do. Like, we're gifted. We have the gift of knowing. We can just sense what our partner needs, and we expect, because that comes so naturally to us, that our partner is going to be able to do that too. And that's not a good place to be in, is expecting that, because again, with 80% of the world not being sensitive and empathic, they do not know what we need. We get to voice what we need. We get to voice, hey, this is what I want to experience with you. This is what I would like to have happen, right? And you're always owning that it's your feelings and it's your desires. You're never saying, you don't do this, you're not supportive enough, I need a supportive partner, like, because that's kind of like a hostile aggressive way to come at your partner. And most people, if you come at them like that, the wall goes up, the ears, like, they're not listening, they turn off. So you want to come assertive, you want to come in love. And again, that's why it helps you kind of have your things written down before the conversation gets open, so you kind of know which direction you want to go, right? And just allow yourself to be seen and be heard, and allow yourself to be open to the idea that, yes, my partner can support me in my sensitivity. Because most people, again, I find you just have to share with them. You just have to share with them. Like, for instance, with me, one of the things for me, like, I have a really strong aversion to hunger, which is interesting because I do intermittent fasting for hours and hours and hours a day. But, like, if I get really, really hungry and my blood sugar dips, this Jennuine Love sweet disposition goes out the window, y'all. I'm just trying to tell you, hangry is a real thing for me. And it took me like years and years, because I didn't understand about my sensitive nature, to realize, okay, I have a really strong aversion to being extremely hungry. Like, I have a really strong aversion to being hungry. And then once I learned that, it became my responsibility. You ever see me with my purse? I've got something to eat in there, a banana, a tangerine, some kind of almonds, or, I have things in my purse because I never want to get caught in traffic and get too hungry and then start bitching at my partner. And I never want to, like, be out and have to, handle business and like, oh crap, I'm like really hungry now and I don't have any food to eat, right? So that's just like a silly, small, but it wasn't really silly to me. It's really important. Example, instead of, creating like this disharmony and things like that in my connections where I'm just like bitchy now because I'm starving, I took it upon myself to, make sure that I have my food. And also I will share with my partner, hey, like, I'm really starting to get hungry now. Is there a way we can stop? I just need to grab a smoothie, or I just need to get myself a little bit of nourishment for my body, before we continue on with whatever our plans are. And I find that, again, if you've voiced this to your partner, they're more likely to be supportive. But if we expect them to read our mind and just know, oh, Jen's getting antsy, that means she's hungry, let me just pull over and get us something to eat, they're not going to read our mind. Again, they don't pick up on things like we do. And it's not fair to them or to us to expect them to, because they don't have the same gift that we do of just knowing what people need, right? So be clear in your communication, be assertive. Don't be aggressive and blame, you never this, you don't that. It's not going to go good if you do that, right? If your partner is open to reading, a book that I highly recommend is a book called The Highly Sensitive Person by Dr. Elaine Aron. That book, like, it covers so much in there. And if they're open to reading the book alone, great. If not, maybe it's something that y'all do together. You spend quality time together and you read, chapters from this book, maybe answer some questions. This helps bring up dialogue in a safe, non-confrontational, non-judgmental way, right? Again, because they need to understand you. They need to understand, what sets you off, like how certain, environments can really trigger you. Like everybody, like, oh, in the dating game, it's like, oh, let's go have a drink or let's go here. That's so not me. Like, you would be better off inviting me to the park for a picnic. I'm down, but you invite me to some loud, noisy bar, smoky. No, I'm just not. I'm never going to want to do that ever. I'm never going to want to do that. So it's just knowing different things about you, like letting your partner in. And this goes back to really honoring your sensitivity and feeling good about your gifts. We tend to view, being an empath and a sensitive like this curse, and that's because we haven't learned how to manage our energy, but that's a whole nother video. But when you really dig deep, you begin to understand how freaking valuable you are, not just to your partner, to the freaking world. Like the energy, the gifts that you possess are really, really valuable. So like this is your chance to like really own that and hold steady to that and let that be your foundation as you bring up these topics that may feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? So those are the main tips that I have for you, is to just really open up dialogue. That's the main thing. We cannot expect our partner to know just automatically. And I see this happening all of the time. We just expect that you're going to know what to do because I know what to do. And then we get our feelings hurt because they don't know what to do. They just don't, whether it's man or woman, it's regardless. It doesn't matter if the person is not, an empath and a sensitive, that it can intuitively just feel the energy of that. And something else that's coming to me right now, that I hadn't planned on talking, but I will briefly share in this particular video, is sometimes it's hard in relationships because we can feel what the person really means. We can feel what they're really thinking, and we pick up on subtleties way more than we hear the words. Like, I'm a master at this kind of thing. Like, I hear the words, but I feel the vibration, So sometimes I've had partners just outright lie straight to my face, And I'm like, I hear the words, I hear what you're saying, but I know you're lying. Like, I know you're lying. I've been called crazy. I've been called, jealous. I've been called all of these different things because I was able to call people out on some bullshit, and they're like, but how could you know that? Like, I covered all my tracks. How could you know that? Well, we just do. And you really want to be with a partner who's honest. And if you find yourself in a good connection, but you feel like you're picking up on things that are not necessarily in tune, and maybe they're saying one thing, but you're sensing and feeling another, this is an opportunity for you to hold space of unconditional love. And it's an opportunity for you to be the example that you need for yourself, So if a person that you're in a partnership with is not meeting your needs, again, your inner being is the only person who can be everything to you, period. But in a connection, if you're not feeling fulfilled, you're not feeling like you're being seen or heard or appreciated, again, we're always looking inward, but at some point you have to, just ask yourself, is this worth me investing my time and energy? And it's okay that, relationships transition. It's okay. But don't fall into the trap that, because I'm an empath, I have to have an empath partner. Because you don't. You really don't. Because there are people who are kind-hearted, loving individuals. Just because they don't identify with being an empath doesn't mean that you just write them off, And the main thing is always going to be, sharing what you need, but also leading by example. You lead by example. You say, no, I'm sorry, I can't go out tonight. I need to spend some alone time. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. The environment just doesn't gel with what I, want to experience tonight. No, I can't do that. I need to stop and eat first. Whatever, you have to lead by example. Even when your partner wants you to do the opposite of what is best for your own well-being in that moment, you are in a space where you can teach them what you need by giving it to yourself, and lead by example. So bringing up the conversation, leading by example. If you find, that you're in a space where you're sharing with your partner or your partner sharing with you, and it doesn't, you just know something is off, like, don't necessarily address it right there in that moment. Just allow yourself to be in a space of unconditional love, because the number one reason why people lie is because they feel like their truth is not worthy of love. Somewhere along the line, they've told the truth and somebody flipped out on them and they felt judged or whatever. I'm not saying that lying is, yay, good job, let's lie to each other. It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm simply sharing that this is a space where you can, hold unconditional love for your partner, for your friend, whoever you find, not being authentic with you in that moment. And if you feel that this is an ongoing thing, then yes, you want to address it. You want to address that. But as an empath, you will kind of know, like you can kind of feel, even earlier when I mentioned the person lied right to my face, like I could feel why they were lying. Like I could literally feel the fear that they had, that if they told me the truth, that would be the end all be all of our connection. And I had so much compassion for them because A, I knew the truth, even though that they were lying to me, and B, I could just imagine what that felt like, to feel like you have no other choice but to put on a mask, because you don't feel like if you take it off and bear all of who you are, that you're going to be loved and accepted in that space, right? So just I think I'm going to have to do a whole video on that, because there's a lot more I want to say, but I don't want to get completely off topic. I just wanted to throw that in there because it kept coming up. But main thing that you need to do, again, is just make sure you're opening dialogue, make sure you're leading by example, and make sure you're not limiting yourself, whether you're with a partner or single and ready to mingle when the quarantine's over. But you want to be able to lead by example, and you want to not cut yourself off and be like, oh, I can't date you because you're not an empath, because you're cutting off 80% of the world, and the numbers, you want to include everybody, so to speak. So just, it's your responsibility to speak up for yourself. It's your responsibility to nurture yourself and to lead by example. It's never your partner's responsibility, period. It's never your partner's responsibility to meet your needs, okay? Partners enhance our lives, they add value to our lives, they complement our lives, but they're never supposed to be the one who meets our needs and makes us feel loved and makes us feel validated and seen and understood and all of these different things. That comes from within. And when you have a strong foundation of self-love from within, you will notice that people around you begin to have that too. If they haven't already, they will rise up to meet you, or they'll vibrate out of your experience. Either way, you will begin to clear the energy, to allow a more aligned partner to come in, whether that looks like your partner rising up to meet you where you're at, or a new partner, vibrating in. So these are important topics, important conversations to have. And I hope that you found some value in this. Kind of go back and watch it again. Hey, you guys that are just joining in, you can watch the replay. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them, and I will do my best to answer any questions that you guys present to me. And I just want to share encouragement. Know that you're not alone, and you're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. Awareness is key. Awareness isn't about judging and making yourself or other people wrong. Awareness is just awareness, and when you're aware of things, you can shift them, you can address them, you can sit with them, so awareness is good. Let us never be afraid to become aware of where we're at, what's working and what's not working, because it's definitely beneficial and helpful. So I'm sending you all so much love and appreciation, lots of love, and I will see y'all next time. Namaste.